Adam, can you explain what Thermo King's role is in the value chain when it comes to clean energy?
Absolutely. Well, Jennifer, thank you first for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to be here and really appreciate the invite. So I lead Thermo King Americas, and our purpose is pretty simple. We keep things at the right temperature that are moving around our country, really around North America and Latin America. And so we ensure goods, perishables, whether that's food or medicine, make it to their destination safely and often sustainably. And really what that looks like is these are units that go on trucks. They go on trailers. They are climate control devices that go in our large metro buses, that go onto tractors that are pulling all the trailers, that help reduce diesel run hours on the main engines. And so we are moving goods around this country, and we do it in a very clean, sustainable way.
So most people know that the biggest emissions come from power plants and transportation. And Thermo King is on a mission to decarbonize. I saw an announcement just this month about how your technology is improving the battery quality of an EV bus. Talk about that.
This is a very innovative industry, and it's been an industry that we have had an innovation role in since the beginning. So our founder, Frederick McKinley Jones, was actually the inventor of refrigerated transportation.
What was that?
Oh, that was over 70 years ago now.
Oh my gosh.
So it has been a long road for us, and no pun intended here, but it's been a long road. And we've been innovators and leading in innovation this whole time. So you mentioned the EV bus project that we're working on. So we have been working in electric vehicle buses, and really our role is utilizing heat pumps. And so utilizing heat pumps the same way that we're doing in home air conditioning or in large scale commercial air conditioning, we're applying the same technology to a bus. Well, the reason you do it on a bus is actually very simple. The traditional method on a bus to heat and cool actually uses a lot of diesel fuel, and it's an electric resistance heat that is actually very, very inefficient, especially in the winters. And so by switching this technology with a battery on a bus, what we're able to do is we improve the coefficient of performance to increase the range of the bus, making these buses much more effective at their job. It allows them to have a smaller battery, which means they can charge and have higher uptime. And so the cost benefit analysis for the metro that's moving the people around is much higher. And it's actually much better temperature control for the riders. And so they experience a much more kind of consistent environment while they're using the product. And it's just sustainable. And so it's just another way to decarbonize.
Is this technology that you're offering for the fleets of flour trucks and food distributors and cities that are buying these EV batteries? What are you hearing from them from a cost perspective?
So it's very different on the segments that we serve. So when we're talking buses, we're moving from a diesel bus and we're moving into an EV bus, but there are also hydrogen buses that are out there and all different things. And so our responsibility in that situation is actually quite different than when we're talking about moving goods via truck or trailer. And so if we think about a truck, if you're going into a municipality and you go into a big city and you're in the downtown and you're in that morning area and you start to see all the deliveries into the restaurants and stores, and you have these straight trucks that have refrigeration units that sit right above the cab.
Mm-hmm.
Those refrigeration units today primarily run on diesel. There is a small diesel engine that actually sits up in that container, and that's something that we connect to a refrigeration circuit, and then we control the temperature based on the goods that we're serving. Is it ice cream with deep frozen? Or is it flowers that we're making sure stay fresh so that they don't spoil when they're making their way to your home? And so those are the types of solutions that our products are serving. But for us, we have to find a way to do it utilizing more efficient technology. So the path to decarbonization today actually doesn't look directly like an EV battery like we're talking on buses. There was some regulation earlier that might have had this is called a straight truck. These straight trucks moving to an electrified unit, and we have those solutions for electrified units, but they require tremendous infrastructure that we're hearing and we're seeing just isn't ready. The charging infrastructure, the operations on how people have to change their operational routing and the efficiency of it. And then just even the use cases on when a driver brings a truck to a yard, they have to do something different than they were doing before. So there's a lot of challenges. So we have technology for customers that are going after the zero emissions fleet category. We have solutions that are set up, and we are the solution provider that has the highest efficiency unit that allows that to have the least amount of range impact on that truck. But we also have solutions that are set up for diesel. And so if you're using diesel today, a path to decarbonization doesn't have to be all the way to zero emissions. How do I just use less fuel? And so improving the efficiency of the unit is one way that we're going about it. We are absolutely improving the efficiency of our units, and we're constantly rolling out new units in the Americas region and around the globe that push the efficiency boundaries in each of these product categories. But we're also looking more importantly, I think, at the operational side. That's where there's a lot of inefficiency in these spaces. So when we're talking about how the driver actually does his job, how the fleet manager do their job, how the person that's loading the truck does their job. There are a lot of different insights that you can see and a lot of different inefficiencies. And each one of those is a point to decarbonize. How do we do it in a different way? And how do we bring those insights to our customers? So we have some phenomenal digital solutions that are using our world-class telematics platform to then bring this technology into insights, into actionable items for our customers so that they can start to do things differently. And that is actually a huge opportunity to decarbonize because you can't imagine the amount of fuel, of diesel fuel used in this space when it doesn't need to be. It is an immense amount of fuel. More than a third of the amount of fuel used to cool all these goods actually don't need to be used if we would operate differently.
You took this job, what, in 2023?
I took it in 2024. So
And it hasn't been what you expected, right? It's not the straight path. It sounds like you're journey mapping, right? You're looking at how the whole process goes from loading the meat onto that truck or the gelato, ice cream, what have you, onto the truck, and that whole process getting it there. Are you collaborating? Tell me how you're navigating this long winding road.
yeah, the people that are shipping these goods, their primary goal is to get the goods to the store, the distribution center, what have you, to do it in an on time, reliable, and at the right temperature so the goods last the duration that they're supposed to when they meet that end state. So if it's pharma or medicine, the cost is incredibly high from a business proposition. But if we're talking food or flowers, if the emissions profile of what we're trying to avoid there isn't just about diesel fuel, it's about ensuring that there's no food loss. The amount of emissions that go into producing food is incredibly high, and the amount of if we if we lose food along that journey in the cold chain, then we have a huge impact on emissions overall. So our primary kind of goal, it's very similar to how we talk about medicine at a hospital, is do no harm. We want to make sure the goods show up the way that they're supposed to. So that is our primary objective here. And everything we do from then on is about how to improve their businesses. All of this sustainability journey should be, and our CEO talks about it all the time, it's good for the environment and it's good for our customers' bottom line. And we
Right.
have to make it do both. And so there is, as I mentioned, a tremendous amount of inefficiency in how the goods get loaded, how the goods go from the loading in door openings to the way that they actually deliver the goods. A lot of drivers will leave doors wide open and the unit with diesel running. And so how do we inhibit those things and how do we prevent them and give them awareness on what they're using? This is the business of the owners. And so for them, every point of efficiency that we can drive through keeping the refrigeration unit tight, keeping the box tight, keeping the refrigeration unit running for the right goods that are in there, making sure that the refrigeration unit is, when it gets to a distribution center, is unloaded at the appropriate time. So it just doesn't sit there and run in a yard, making sure that we don't turn on the unit way, way early. So that is an operational nightmare today where you have a distribution center with 100 trailers and their typical status quo is a fleet operator that is working in that truck park is out there turning on these things at pick a time, 3, 4 in the morning. They may not get loaded for another 8 hours. And so they've just been running for 8 hours with diesel fumes running and burning fuel. That's an area of opportunity that is important for us to bring those insights to our customers and then allow them to change their operations.
Oh, and with electricity prices, fuel prices rising, they must be clamoring for more. Yeah, I'm
They
sure they will.
are.
And what is it like now? I mean, we're hearing there are backlogs right now for example, natural gas turbines. You have to wait 7 years for that. What is
Mhm.
it like for the technology that Thermo King is providing? Can you deliver what is needed for these transit fleets in a timely manner?
Absolutely. The technology is ready, whether you want to go after zero emissions or whether you want to go after a more efficient diesel solution or a digital solution that improves the efficiency of your current diesel products. All those solutions are ready for you today. It's the downstream infrastructure that still can be a challenge. If you want to go zero emissions and you want to do it at scale at a distribution center, that can be a megawatt, 2 megawatt load that is needed because you now have to plug in, and it's many millions of dollars to permit and put in the high capacity charging infrastructure that's needed to decarbonize that distribution center. And it is absolutely inhibiting the pace of decarbonization, but it's also hurting from a bottom line perspective. Right now, without it depends on the regulation and subsidies. These businesses are low operating margin businesses in many cases. And so they just can't handle the capital burden that's responsible for the upfront cost on some of these. And in some cases, Jennifer, it makes all the sense in the world. So we help our customers go through and do the analysis based on the location of the distribution center. Is it in Southern California and you're running, the utility costs are very high, but the diesel costs are also challenging. And then the route length is of a certain duration. So we help utilize all this data to help our customers plan. And so it's one of the areas that we bring our expertise to market so that we can help our customers, whatever their ambition is, and help them evaluate the right thing that saves the right amount of money and also improves the environment along the path.
What are you hearing on the EV infrastructure front? Is there any hope that things are going to change anytime soon? Are they coming up with innovative ways to address the infrastructure issue?
I think they are. And I think we just have to think about the cold chain in a variety of segments. So if we're thinking about cold chain in long haul trucking, that is an area that's going to be the most challenging. You are leaving one area. Let's just use the United States to describe this situation, but this exists in North America and South America and in Europe as well. But let's say you load in California and you load all your goods in California and you had ability to charge, but then you're driving across the country and you're in the middle, let's say you're now in Missouri and you need to charge, you have to have that infrastructure everywhere those long haul routes are, and they're not direct all the time. It's not I'm picking up from one place and I'm going to the other. And so the only objective is to make sure we have charging infrastructure on our major highways. That's actually not the case. And
Right.
so for those type of customers, it's really challenging, and we have a ways to go to figure out the infrastructure associated. But if you're a regional distribution customer and you're a regional distribution and the local government has the right capacity on the grid to support it, then there's a business case. And there are opportunities to decarbonize that space the same way that we're doing in passenger vehicles today. We have to remember the loads on these commercial vehicles, they are much higher than if we're doing a charging station for 12 Tesla superchargers for your small cars. That is a very different load on the grid. There's not a lot of the excess capacity. We haven't built our grid in a way that has tremendous amount of excess capacity to add a megawatt or 2 megawatts for these additional loads. And they're actually competing against other industries that are looking for excess power today. And so the value proposition can be challenging there.
What keeps you up? What do you think is the biggest challenge, and how are y'all addressing it?
I actually think the biggest challenge is just the freight economy right now, Jennifer. This is actually not a technology problem. How do we make sure that the fleets have the capital to pay for these things? And right now, the freight rates in our world are depressed, and they've been depressed. This is year 4 of what is typically an 18-month cycle, and so the freight economy is way down.
What?
And equation actually that we could spend a whole nother podcast describe happens there. And it's a supply and demand equation where the for hire freight companies are the rates are depressed. And so they're having a challenge investing in the right infrastructure. And that's what keeps me up at night, but that's also what excites me because those are the reasons that people change their operational status quo
Mhm.
that can help improve their business. And so this is where these digital solutions really come to play. If we can take the digital solution that we can help them reduce their fuel expense, increase their route efficiency. If we can help them reduce freight claims from load loss, all of those things help decarbonize and they're good for their business too. And
Right,
so,
because you're lowering
so
costs
absolutely.
and you're increasing efficiency.
You got it. That means
Listen to me, I could be a thermo queen. But
you
I
can,
know that
yes, you could absolutely be that. And so as you start to do it, this is something that we've been tackling in other areas of our economy for a long time. It's efficiency and wasted energy is a huge opportunity to decarbonize without going to a battery. We don't have to go straight to battery. There's a huge amount of opportunity. There are roughly 400 to 450,000 refrigerated trailers that are running every day, and each one of these will run about 1 million hours over their life.
what
You start to do the math on the impact of, let's say, 30-ish% or more of that is just idle time that doesn't need to be used. It would be like removing, 100, 150,000 refrigerated trailers off the road while improving the efficacy of the goods we have, which is saving load loss, which is saving emissions. And so as we start to think about the opportunity here, the freight economy provides a challenge in investment, but it provides a tremendous opportunity to work with our customers to help improve their business and improve the environment.
high level, talk to me about how you strategize. You can't think anymore like a 5-year plan, maybe not even 3 years. How are you navigating planning for the company to address your customers' needs?
You have to think about this whole industry as the way that our really founders had done, which is what problems exist today and what can we do from a technology perspective, and then also just a problem solving perspective that we can help our customers with. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to understand our customers more deeply than we have and understand what challenges they have. Let's really understand if we do have an electric vehicle, what are their challenges to make sure that they don't have increased load loss? Because if they go from a diesel unit to an electric unit and now suddenly the load losses that they have start to go up, it doesn't matter if the electric unit is saving diesel emissions. It doesn't matter if it's actually performing financially better because the cost of operating that unit is nothing compared to what the cost of a load loss is.
Right.
So we have to tackle the problems and meet the customers where they are. Our objective is to understand our customers very deeply from a strategy perspective and then start to build the technology stacks and the life cycle services opportunities to help our customers manage their infrastructure, better than they are today. And if we can do that really well, and it's incremental improvements over time, that's what's going to make the biggest change, especially in a freight economy that can't afford a tremendous amount of capital infrastructure.
Right. And it's prioritizing your customers' problems and going, okay, how quickly, how efficiently, how profitably can we address those?
You got it.
Right. All right. Here on this podcast, we try to end everything on an optimistic note. So, Adam, what really excites you about the clean energy space right now?
Well, I'm going to stay very focused from a Thermo King lens
Bring it.
on the clean energy space. I think the opportunity in front of us is so vast. We have a tremendous cold chain in the Americas. It's different in Latin America than it is in North America, but it's a tremendous cold chain that really the efficacy is very high. We don't have a ton of food loss or pharma loss that's in our cold chain. And so that's an opportunity for sure to just understand that, make sure that we protect that, do no harm. So what gets me really excited is this operational challenge. Our customers are listening to us every day. We are doing some wonderful things around ensuring that they're utilizing their assets in the right manner, predicting failures before they happen to stop load losses. So we have some phenomenal insights that help them see up to 2 weeks in advance of time a potential failure at the component level so they can get it in for service while maintaining all the food and pharma that's in the back of their truck or trailer. So really this opportunity around the system inefficiency is what gets me excited. There is so much opportunity to just dig in and help them improve their businesses that doesn't take a ton of capital and it improves the environment. I think that is our best case to decarbonize in the short term, and really it sets the stage for the winning aspiration long term. As we move to zero emissions, we need to be looking at operational changes because we know route length is going to be different. We know that batteries take longer to charge than pulling up into a gas station and filling up with diesel fuel. So it changes these operational manners. And if we can get our customers helping us today and working with us on utilizing these digital solutions with their current assets, it sets the table to go after the future zero emissions decarbonization assets. So like it is this digital space and challenging these inefficiencies that gets me excited today.
Yeah. It sounds like you really get excited about working with the customers too.
Oh, I do. I do. That's the most important part of our business. We don't have anything to create, manufacture, sell, innovate on if we're not listening to our customers and helping partners solve their problems every day.
Well, thank you. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to add?
No, just that as you look around and you start to see if you're going through a city or you're on the road and you see a Thermo King unit or you see a refrigerated trailer, just know that and you hear that diesel engine running. That doesn't mean we're not doing everything we can to protect the environment. In fact, it's the exact opposite. We are working with all those assets every day to reduce the amount of diesel run hours on them and to improve the efficiency so that we can have food on our tables, medicine in our hospitals, and healthy communities that we serve.
Do your kids get excited now when they're like, Dad, look, a Thermo King truck?
So I'll tell you a little story, Jennifer. As I became president of Thermo King a year ago, my daughters got very excited, and I started to get daily text messages as they would be on the bus to school, counting us versus our competitors, getting share reports. So I was getting share reports from my daughters, and it's turned into a fun game that still exists almost 2 years later.
That's fantastic. Well, Adam, thank you again for your time. And I hope to have you again because it sounds like we've got more to talk about.
I appreciate
right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Hi, I'm comedian Sue Funk, and I'm here to talk to you about something very serious. There's an energy crisis going on, and it's involving this podcast. Jay-Z is running on fumes, and what you could do is just buy her a cup of coffee. Go to cleanenergyshorts.com, click on the hamburger menu, buy her a cup of coffee. It's like $5. What's it to you? Get her some coffee. It's good coffee. Wait, you still here? Go get the coffee. Come on. It's like $5. I bet you subscribe to things that are way more money that you don't even remember. Come on,